Pies are a terrific way to make any occasion special. Today, I'm going to make some pies that you can use and make in a very few minutes. So please, stay with us. Shalom, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Eenie Frost, and we are going to be making some pies. Not just any pies, special pies. I know the kind that you like, the kind that go really fast. Quickies, I call them. Real quickie pies. And you know what's fun? Sometimes if you're going to have a special party, a tea, an afternoon tea, an evening party, or perhaps you're going to celebrate a Brit Milah at your home. And it comes at a crazy time, like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Instead of going out to the bakery and buying those same coffee cakes that you always buy, how about do something different this time? Just prepare these lovely pies and put them on your table. You'll see how very beautiful they look. And today, we're going to try some very interesting and quickie pies. Now the basic thing and the basic crust that we make is always with a graham cracker crust. And I just want to remind you that of course the kosher graham crackers are always sold in the kosher foods department, but if you do not have that department in your supermarket, then just look at every box, because when I was looking at some of the graham crackers the other day, I noticed that most of them are really made with lard. And I guess they do that because they stay softer and they stay better. But we do not use that. And according to the laws of kashrut, that is not acceptable. So always check the box to be sure that the graham crackers that you are using are made with a different kind of shortening. And to make a very basic graham cracker crust, oh, and if you never use your food processor, and I know I hear from many of you who say, oh, I have it in the house, but I don't use it that much. If you never use it for anything else, please use it for this, because this is really wonderful. Now, I have 1 2/3 cups of graham cracker crumbs in here. And if you want me to tell you exactly how many graham crackers it is, I'll say approximately 30. But it kind of depends, because sometimes I have found with different graham crackers, they run a little differently. So I'd rather give it to you as an amount that you can measure out, as 1 2/3. And I always add a little sugar. I think it really takes at least 2 tablespoons, maybe a little more of sugar. And my secret ingredient, oh, you know one of my favorite secret ingredients anyway, is cinnamon. A little taste of cinnamon. And you'll see that it'll give even your pie a little tang that you haven't thought about. It's really an interesting thing to put into it. So set that into your food processor and add 1/4 of a cup of melted margarine. And you see how very quickly this goes. Just check that it's coming out around the sides. Take a knife and just go around the sides for a moment to be sure that you are getting all of the butter or margarine, because this will be a basic parve crust. Graham crackers are parve, so that this crust can always be made with anything. Now then, take out the bowl, and when you put the graham crackers into your pan, always start with the sides to be sure that the sides are set up right. And just pat them in, and you'll see that that will hold very nicely. Some people say that you have to bake these crusts or freeze them or do anything. I find if you have your margarine at a good temperature and melted, it will hold very well. If you want to put it into the microwave for a minute, you can, or put it in the refrigerator for a few minutes while you're making your pie. But ordinarily, I find really that isn't necessary. It's absolutely fine this way. Just pat it in on the sides. And you see how it's holding on the other side? I know my daughter said to me one time, Mom, she says, I'm always afraid to turn the pan around because then all the graham crackers are going to fall out. I said, Bonnie, you just have to have a little confidence with this. And you have to give it a good pat. It's like taking a Jell-O mold out of a Jell-O mold. If you don't have confidence and pick that up and give it a good push with your thumb, it's not going to work. And it's the same thing here. You absolutely have to take it and give it a good pat. Otherwise, it will fall down. And this is just graham crackers. And look at how nice these are. They are really setting up nicely in here. And this will be a nice firm pie dough. And you can use this for anything. And if you want to make a couple of them at a time, you can do that because it certainly holds. This is a wonderful crust. It's a basic crust. You can enlarge on it, but I always feel that my basic crust is something that you want to know about before you start. Now that is a graham cracker crust. Now we're going to make another crust because I think that it's really fun to have a basic idea of a couple crusts. And we're going to make a chocolate crust. In order to make a chocolate crust, we use chocolate wafers. And oh, they are so good. Now here again, it's hard for me to give you an absolute idea of exactly how many wafers it takes because it more or less depends on what you're using, on what brand and what type and what everything. So if the wafers are about this size, they take about 23. But if they are a little larger or a little smaller, it may take a different amount. So again, I'm going to give it to you in amounts. I'm going to say 1 1/3 cups. And put it in your food processor until. Now with the chocolate, you see the consistency? Oh, one didn't break. Why didn't that happen? We have one left here. Wait, we better put that one through. One thing about this, it's very crummy. But that never bothered my son, Skip. He loved to come in when I was making this. And I'm using 3 tablespoons of margarine in this again. Now this is pretty crummy. And I think that you're going to have to work with this a little bit to get it out. But that, of course, is the fun of doing this. So when you put it on here, again, pat it the same way. Pat this down the same way, and it'll work the same. Because a chocolate crust is really a wonderful, wonderful crust. And I know that you're going to love this. Everybody who comes in says, look, if you're a real chocolate lover, like June Minkus, who's helping me today, you're really going to love this because now you see what we're going to put into this chocolate crust. But first, we're going to make an ice cream pie to put into our graham cracker crust. This is called a strawberry ice cream pie. And oh, it's wonderful. And it is so fast. Again, I'm going to take my food processor and I'm going to put it right in there because this is a really wonderful way to go. When you're making pies, if you use your food processor, you'll see that it really is a quickie and a wonderful way to go. Now, to make your strawberry ice cream pie, naturally, we're going to need strawberry ice cream. So let it melt down a little bit. I think that'll be better. I have 1 pint of strawberry ice cream. That's started to melt a little bit. That's better. And then add 1 3.5 ounce package of instant vanilla pudding. You see, that's already giving it the encouragement to come up a little bit. And start your machine going a little bit while you add 1 cup of milk. There you go. And then, to give it a little flavor, of course, we want to add 1 package of frozen strawberries. And just blend it through for a second. Don't do it too long. I think we all get caught up in maybe doing it too long, and that is not a good idea. Do it very quickly. And take your pie plate and just pour it in. Now, is that a quickie pie? Could you be any faster than that? I think you really have to admit that that is a very quick pie. And we pour it in here. And I think keep it in the freezer for a while. Take it out about a half an hour before you're going to use it. But it goes very fast. You will find that this pie really is a quickie, and it's delicious. It has a wonderful flavor. And after it really starts to firm up, then decorate it with some fresh strawberries. Oh, I think I have some fresh strawberries right here. Just put them right on. Oh, you see, this I'll have to set for a while before they'll hold. Put this in the freezer for a while, and when you take it out, you'll see that you'll have a wonderful strawberry ice cream pie. And I think that you will really enjoy that one. Now we're going to make a chocolate pie. What is better than a chocolate pie? Well, if you're a real chocolate lover, did I tell you that Jack and I went to a chocolate weekend? All we did was eat chocolate all weekend. Well, you really get into the swing of it. So you get so caught up with the chocolate that you can't help it. Now look at this pie. Here is a real quickie from way back. All you do is melt an 8-ounce bar of chocolate, of milk chocolate. And everybody loves that, so there's no question about that. And add that in to 8 ounces of a non-dairy dessert. Is that fast? And blend it in nicely. Right. See how nicely it blends in here? And always melt that chocolate in a double boiler, because chocolate burns. And if chocolate burns, there is nothing you can do to really get it down. You really have to, once it burns, you have lost it. So make it, melt it over a double boiler. And put it into your pie shell, and there we are, chocolate pie. And I hope that you will try this, because it really is delicious. And I hope that you will try this, because it's something that is really very special. And making chocolate pie, strawberry pie, those are wonderful ideas and wonderful selections. So please try them. They're very special, and you know the recipes are always available to you by writing to me.
Eenie's Kitchen will continue in a moment. If you would like a copy of Eenie's recipes, please send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Eenie's Kitchen, WJUF, 1 South Franklin Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60606.
Have you ever had that telephone call when your husband or your son calls up and says, oh, there's somebody who just came into town, and they came in for a Federation seminar for the weekend, and I know that they're going to be eating all of that hotel food. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice, we'll have them over to the house for dinner. You wouldn't mind, honey, would you? What am I going to make? What am I going to have for dessert? Well, you start to think, and if it's a couple, that means 4 of you. How about a pie? A quickie pie, a real fast quickie pie. And to make it more interesting, let's make a crust that's a little more interesting. Let's make a nut crust. Take a half a cup of either walnuts or pecans, it doesn't matter, and a half a cup of flour, and add to that, gotta have a little good taste, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. And you know, your brown sugar should always be firmly packed whenever you make it. That's really very important. Then take 1/4 of a cup of margarine or butter and just mix it in to give it a nice flavor. And I don't like to buy a lot of gadgets because it's a little rugged, but I think that this gadget is really necessary. This will really help you bring it down. So here we have it. Oh, your dough should be about the size of small peas. And grease your pan, spray it or grease it, either way. And when you do it, always do the sides of your pan first. Set it up on the side so that the nuts, can you see these nuts? And I don't like my nuts so mashed up that you can't tell what it is. You should have it so that you can feel it a little bit. Here we go. And pat the sides in really good so that you get the feeling of the nut. And you'll see that this is going to give it an interesting flavor. It's really good. Actually, you could make this, it could be a parve crust. So you could use it either way, whichever way you choose. And you really should let this set for a while. And, because a nut crust is a little juicier than maybe our graham cracker crusts. So let that set for a while we're going to make a special pie. And this pie is wonderful. I'm going to call it Cherry Divine. And you're going to see how fast Cherry Divine can come to life. Look at this. All we have to do is take our ingredients and mix them together, because this is a very special and interesting kind of a pie. What we're going to do, and you know, it's variations on a theme, using the same things that we always use, just putting them together. First, and I always use this wooden spoon. It was my grandmother, Alva Sholem, so I feel that she's listening to me when I use her spoon. A can of cherry pie filling. Here is 1 container of non-dairy, or actually it's dairy, whipped topping mixed into it. And 1 container, 20 ounces of pineapple. And add to that 1 container full of condensed milk. Remember, this is not evaporated. This is condensed. Now take that, mix it together, and pour it into your pie plate. And you'll see that this is really going to be delicious. Would you believe we can do this so fast? But that's how it works. And just pour it right into your pie shell and sprinkle it with nuts. I'm going to let this set for a few minutes before the nuts come on. Here's one that I made already, and you can see how the nuts will hold, because this is still a little bit soft. I think it has to set here for a few minutes until it really softens up a little bit. Now, the next pie that really is interesting is a cream cheese pie. And what you do to make this is just take 1 complete container of cream cheese. That's 8 ounces. Use 8 ounces of cream cheese. Put the whole thing in your food processor. 8 ounces of cream cheese, 2 eggs, a half a cup of sugar, and put this into your food processor, set it in here, and let it set overnight. And it looks just like a cheesecake, doesn't it? And it tastes like it, because it really is delicious, and I think you'll like this one. It's called cream cheese pie. It's very simple to make, and be sure you add lemon, and none of that fake lemon juice. You know how I am about fresh is best. Always use a fresh lemon, and that will give it a wonderful flavor. And I hope you will enjoy both of these pies.
Enie's Kitchen will continue in a moment. If you would like a copy of Enie's recipes, please send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Enie's Kitchen, WJUF, 1 South Franklin Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60606.
We are going to make a fruit pie. Now that may sound very impressive, but this is really a fake. Watch. Take 1 cup of juice from pineapple or peaches that we're going to open up in a minute. Now add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And mix that through a little bit. Then add 2 tablespoons of margarine. And oh, my secret ingredient, because I think this always gives any kind of fruit pie, even a fake one, a good taste. A little nutmeg. You know, if you're making applesauce from your apples out in the yard, be sure you always add a little nutmeg to it. My mother-in-law, Vasholem, always said that, and it really does give it a nice flavor. Now, open up. When that starts to melt down, all right, add 1/4 of a cup of regular sugar, because we want this to really give the fruit a nice flavor. And what is the fruit? All it is a can, a 20-ounce can of sliced peaches and a 20-ounce can of the chunks. I like the pineapple chunks because I like this pie to have kind of a textured feeling when you go to take a piece. You feel you really have something good. Now all you do is melt this down. You're not going to believe this is so quick. Pour this sauce right over your fruit, because this is what's going to pull it together. And pour this into your pie shell. Now, could it be any faster than that? And it really is good. You're really going to like this. This is a very good pie. It has a lot of good feelings to it. And everybody's going to like it, especially the children. My grandchildren. Mark always says, "Can I help you, Grandma Eenie, to bring out the dessert?" But before this gets to the table, a few little fingers have tried a few little pieces on it. But that's all right, because that's why we do it, isn't it? We do it specially to make our children and our grandchildren happy, and that's what makes it so wonderful. Now, this next pie is really too much. Jack says, "I don't believe that you can make a pie with no crust that looks and tastes like a pie." I said, "Well, you're just going to have to watch, because that's exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to take a bowl, take a big bowl, and add our ingredients one at a time. Now this is going to take 4 eggs. And of course, when we use eggs in kosher cooking, we always check each one before we put it in to be absolutely sure that there isn't any blood. Because if there was any blood in it, you know what? There is. There is blood in that egg. I can't believe it. We'll have to try another one. That's happens so seldom. I can't believe it. Look at that. That's all right. Put in 4 eggs into your bowl. And always be sure that you take something to beat your eggs first. That's the first thing that you should do when you're making any kind of pie or a cake that you want to have a little feeling. Now, we're going to add the ingredients in order. Here I have 1 3/4 cups of milk that we're going to add in. I have 1 3/4 cups of sugar. I have a 1/2 cup of flour to give it a little stamina. And here I have 1 1/2 cups of coconut. And Jack said, "Oh, I think that is a little bit flat." He says, "Come on, honey, let's add something really good." So he picked up my glass and he took a 1.5 tablespoons of amaretto. And oh, does that give it a good flavor. And that is the whole pie, because all we're going to do now is to put that into our nice pie crust. Put it in a 350 oven for about 40 minutes. This takes a good 40 minutes to cook. And when it comes out, do you see the way it looks now? All right. Now let me put this in the oven, and let me show you what this is going to look like when it comes out, because I know you're not going to believe this. Here it is. Is that beautiful? Now that is really special. And if you're going to have, you know, I mentioned before that maybe you would have a Brit Milah at your home. Why did I mention that? Because I want to show you something. I want to show you something very beautiful. One of the very beautiful traditions of our people was in Europe in the 18 and 1900s. They used to make, when a boy was born, one of the basic laws of Judaism is that on the 8th day there would be a circumcision, a Brit Milah. And when the boy was brought to the Brit Milah in his swaddling clothes, they were taken and cut into 4 strips. This happens to be a very beautiful wimple, W-I-M-P-E-L. This is from the Spertus College of Judaica. And I hope that when you come to Chicago, you will certainly visit and see the very beautiful artifacts of our people. And you will see some others. Now, either the mother or the grandmother would embroider these, but this, I believe, was professionally done. And on the first part of it, it gives the boy's name, Menachem, and in Hebrew, we always say your name with your father's name. Menachem ben Shimon. He was the son of Shimon. And in the second section, it tells you the date that he was born. He was born the 4th day of Iyar, and in English it would be 1902. And in the third section, look at something that is really beautiful. Here they are saying that this boy should be brought up under God. And here is the crown of God, right here. And it says here that he should grow up to come to Torah when he is bar mitzvah and to come to chuppah. Look at this very beautiful chuppah, to be married. And at the end, they usually said something, maybe the family had an unusual name, like fish. They would put a picture of a fish or something. This one said that he should grow up to do good deeds. And at the end, it says Salah, which is a very beautiful saying that ends so many of our prayers. And there are some unbelievable stories about this. In the Holocaust, when these wimples were made after the Brit Milah, they were held in the synagogue until the boy was bar mitzvah. And then this is used to tie the Torah as he comes up at his bar mitzvah to read Torah. And before he is married, when he's going to chuppah, he comes, and this is again wrapped around the Torah as he reads. And it was found out that when some people were let out of the concentration camps, they either went back to their synagogue or found the places where these artifacts were kept. And as unbelievable as this sounds, many of these were found by the people. And the government accepted this as a legal acceptance of their identification, because of course they had nothing else. But this has his name, and this has his date of birth, so that this was entirely acceptable. And I have heard people in recent years who have told me that they are making a wimple, and they are bringing it into the synagogue. Or perhaps one said that he has it at home. He keeps it at home. And when his boy will be bar mitzvah, it will be his pleasure and his joy and the beauty of his life to come into this tradition that was a part of his family, handed down for so many, many years, as I know it was a part of the people who made this very beautiful wimple. And I hope that some of these traditions will become a part of your family. And perhaps you will make a pie. Make all the pies that we made today. Look at and enjoy them. Here we have our chocolate pie. Here's our no-crust coconut pie. Here's our cherry divine. Here's our strawberry ice cream pie. And here's our cheese pie. And they are all delicious, and I know that you will enjoy making them. And here is the one that we made just now, the fruit pie. So I hope that all of these will become a part of your evening when you're going to serve them. Isn't it be a nice dinner? Instead of having coffee cakes or something, come on, make pies, put them on the table, and everybody will really have a blast. Shalom.